Hi, I'm John,
And I'm Eric.
and we are proud affiliates of the You Run Podcast Network.
Head on over to yourunpodcast.com to check out all of our content, all of our affiliates' content, and so much more.
See y'all there. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another riveting edition of Under the Floorboards, where we laugh at the creatures that go bump in the night. I am your host, John, joined as always by my beautiful co-host, Eric. How are you this week?
Fabulous.
You look good in my shirt.
Thanks.
I
Thanks
say
for letting me borrow it. We got the other one really dirty.
I say that to all the pretty girls. So.
Yeah, man. I don't even know who this is.
That's Del McCurry. You should put some fucking respect on that name. But
I would if I knew.
But this week we have a very exciting episode. We watched an awesome Stephen King movie thanks to our Patreon subscriber Nina. She was very funny about it too. She was just like, I know I'm not part of the 666 tier, and I was like, nobody is.
Yeah.
Okay. She's like, will you watch this movie for us? And we were like, absolutely.
We're pretty fucking cheap. when you
Yeah,
really get down to it.
we're
Yeah.
pretty fucking cheap.
Yeah.
So we watched Stephen King's Sleepwalkers.
Yes, and I think this was in one of those rare moments, one of the first time that we both watched this movie, that either of us has seen a movie.
Which is crazy because this is a Stephen King film.
Yeah.
And usually those don't fly past my radar more often than not. But I was and not only that, but it is a Stephen King film that was 89 minutes.
Sweet spot.
And that's insane. That's absolutely fucking insane. Because you have like Misery is relatively short. I'm pretty sure that just hits the 90-minute mark. So it's like, okay, you can do it. You can make a movie based on one of your stories that is less than 3 hours, and
Right.
that's incredible.
Right. Right. And it because I think a lot of us grew up watching Stephen King shit or reading Stephen King shit, and we know that it's hard to condense those stories or whatever.
There's just usually so many characters.
Yeah.
There's so much development. There's so many different parts to pull into it.
And I didn't dive too deeply into this one, but was this like a story that he had written, that it was a book or a short story or a novella or something like that? Or was this one of
This
those?
is a full-on novel.
Okay.
Because I have seen Sleepwalkers before. I haven't
Okay.
read it. But it is like an actual story that he's written and I guess transcribed to screenplay.
Because here's the thing. As we get deeper into this movie, it becomes very obvious very quickly that Stephen King wrote this shit. Like if you had not told me this was a Stephen King joint, it would have become apparent at some point.
Because the dialogue is insane.
Yeah, and so are the thematic elements. It's pretty fucking dark.
So in honor of Nina, this will be a pretty thank you once again for helping support us. We really appreciate that. But this will be a very traditional episode.
Yeah. Good to be back to the tradition.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So Eric, I'd love to ask you, what was your first impression of this film?
I know we say this a lot, but I love when a movie is just fucking fun. It doesn't require you to think super hard. It tells a story without much subtext. There are the breadcrumb trails that let you pick up on shit, and you actually called it about 5 minutes, and you're like, "Oh, okay, these guys are the Sleepwalkers." But to sort of frame it in an accessible way, I think is really important for horror. I love. Y'all remember Eric Month when I was doing nothing but like cerebral and like thought provoking and like, yeah, but what does it mean kind of shit. And I love just coming over it like,
and it's like 3 Robert Edgar movies.
Dude, I woke up at 4 a.m. today. I made my fucking oatmeal. I made my fucking coffee and I took my shower, went to work, did my entire shift, came over here in my uniform and sat down and just got to watch a movie with a homie. And it was like, I love shit like that. It's important for me to have like shit that's not super what's the word I'm looking for?
Cerebral.
Yeah, it's cerebral. Like shit that's not super cerebral, because I just think they're fun. And this is a movie that has I have a special tie to this movie, which I'll get into here in a little bit.
It's insane.
but
It is absolutely fucking
but
insane.
aside from that, I just thought it was cool. I thought the special effects, because this came out in 1992, is that
Hmm.
right? Okay, so like I think the special effects for 1992 in a relatively low budget horror movie looked really good. I think the acting was really good. I think the script had its moments, you know, and it was just enjoyable, funny, adventurous,
Sexy.
sexy.
Also, the fact that they
Yeah,
put sex, like, just mark that. The fact that they put sexy on the front of this is insane.
you're right. What about you, man? What were your first thoughts here watching this?
It was what was really cool to me about watching this film was, obviously anybody who listens to the show, I am a huge Stephen King fan.
He's got the shirt. I've
Yeah.
seen it. Yeah.
My Monster Squad shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. But uh I love Stephen King so much. I think he comes up with some of the best stories, and I stand behind his decisions that he's made throughout, because like they kind of make sense at the end of the day.
And
Uh,
he's one of those guys like borderline reclusive with his work. You know,
sure,
like if
totally.
you want to pay me enough to make a movie, we can do a movie, but like you're not gonna not do it my way.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
also the dude at this point in his career where it's like he gets paid $20,000 to just say like presented by Stephen King, and like it has nothing to do with the
Right.
film.
Yeah.
But what I really enjoyed about this film was it was the other end of the spectrum that I know Stephen King to be,
Mm.
and I'd never seen how silly it really can get.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
there's Creep Show, but you think about the fact that it's like, okay, that's Stephen King and George Romero and Tom Savini, and they're all just like having fun and smoking pot and making fucking dumb shorts and stuff like that.
Mm.
Um, but when I think of Stephen King, I think about, stuff like 1918 and Misery and It, and there's a lot of the, like, I think there's humor in a lot of the things that he writes, but I think there's also a lot more. I don't even want to say depravity, because I don't think that that's that masterclass is kind of saved for Anthony de Blasi, but like
No.
the as far as um horror is concerned, like there's a lot of shit that's just typically unsettling from him,
Correct.
and that's kind of why I don't love a lot of Stephen King movies, is I feel like a lot of that gets lost. Especially, and I felt like this kind of fell into the same vein as like Maximum Overdrive,
Yeah. Yeah.
where it like some of the shit is silly, like it's
Yeah.
not quite as serious as you thought it was going to be, but
Right.
they it's not quite as silly as fucking
It's not. I would
as
even like.
Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah, I would even like lean into it's not at like even remotely as silly as that. But like you're right when you say there's a spectrum of Stephen King, and this is leaning towards the comedic.
Yeah,
Eh,
it's not Silver
Yeah,
Bullet, it's not Misery, it's not uh
there's a little bit of Cujo in here.
there's a little bit of Cujo, but that's just because they got that cat in them.
Yeah, in more ways than one, as we'll find out.
But I was actually really glad to watch this one.
Yeah,
It was a
and
lot of fun.
dude, Nina, thank you for the recommendation. I think we both really enjoyed this one, and
Which is the movie she's never seen. She
yeah,
actually, and this is I was telling Eric this earlier. Uh, she actually doesn't watch horror movies.
Mm.
She listens to us to get the synopsis.
yeah, and dude, what a fucking like cool thing
Yeah,
to get to be the conduit, as it were, or perhaps just somebody that can entertain without, you know, forcing someone to watch a movie or whatever, but they can get the gist of a movie, or like
yeah, totally.
that's kind of like an honor for me. I don't know about you, but like that's like
Oh,
that that
100%.
we are entrusted with a title, over just going and watching the title. So we have a little bit of a jump cut here. We enter the movie theater where we meet our final girl, in the what I believe is the sickest movie theater example, or perhaps a great example of what a sick movie theater could be
And should be.
and should be.
5 different kinds of hot dogs with
which
5 different toppings on each one.
yeah,
We were talking about it like it looked a lot like the one that we saw in Pittsburgh when
right.
we went to go see
This is
Wolf
that
Hollow.
this is that two cinema theater that's just on fucking like 47th Street,
Mhm.
that has all of the fixins, but it's so nice on the inside, and the right people come, like the right clientele come, like the cinema goers are going to this movie theater. This isn't your AMC. This isn't your, you know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
commercial fucking, you know what I mean? And like it just gives off a cool vibe. I don't know. I thought that was neat. Um, Want to talk about the girl
Oh yeah, Tanya. Oh my
because
God.
Tanya looks identical to a girl that I fumbled in my history.
And I want to take this for a second because like for my people that are on like r slash doppelganger, I have seen people that look similar to other people before.
Yeah.
The girl that Eric fumbled, and I wish he had made the fumble recovery on.
Yep.
Um,
It's pending.
the amount that they looked like the same person
Is
is
fucking shocking.
it is insane.
To the point that I was like, I'm kind of having a hard time watching this movie right now because this is reminding me of my inadequacies.
He's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna put this on just you.
Yeah.
We were like, damn. I hope that this is the
Our girlfriend.
it's the 52% that we get to see nudity in this movie. By the way, guys, it was under. Is it the 48%?
That classic Stephen King fucking plus 108 versus minus 110. It's pretty deadly there in the trenches when you're forming your perfect week. So just be careful on those. Fun fact. Just a little PT or
Like
little
it
PSA
was
there.
absolutely fucking
Uncanny.
uncanny.
Yeah.
Like the amount that those two people look the
Yeah.
same. And we won't send you their name, but if you
Absolutely
do
not. Yeah.
but if you do want
No me.
we will absolutely send you the picture
Right.
comparison of these two
If
people
you
because
if,
it is insane.
if
Like
you
it is
yeah,
absolutely fucking insane. Because also these people have like a 40-year age difference.
100%. It's one of those things where like you see the face decades later, it's the same face. It's that kind of shit. It's that spiritual shit. Um Anyhow, I have her down as hot girl. Turns out her name is Tanya.
Oh, I thought you had it down as the one that got away.
I almost wrote her name down at some point. I was like, no, let's not do that because that's going to be in the evidence when we fucking
We Matanya.
yeah.
Beck and Jay of the Girl and Gay podcast are bringing you film reviews transcending genre, from horror to rom-com and everything in between.
For in-depth BTS, factoids, and what makes the films good or bad, the Girl and the Gay got you covered.
Be sure to check them out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and as always, yourunpodcast.com.
So she ends up kind of flirting with what's his face shows up. Charles shows up.
Yeah.
And
Charles has already talked about with what we now know as his mother.
Yeah.
Was like, I'm gonna go get the other girl that I thought was cute down the way.
Right. Mother? Sorry, let's mark that for a second. Mother, because this is when we find out that this woman that he's been dancing and making out with this whole time is his mother. Okay. And we kind of were already like, wait, that's like mother. Like you and I think we were both having that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
There's no way they're actually like mother and son. That's not the dynamic, right? Well, it's the dynamic.
Well, and the best part too is like we get through like the hot dogs and cinema, and we get to one of my favorite scenes, which is where the officer shows up that is just completely non sequitur to the rest of the story. But they've got all of these cat bear traps outside of their home because I guess like my theory was that the cats hone in on the sleepwalkers to like take them down for whatever fucking reason,
which I don't think is inaccurate.
I don't think it's I don't think it's inaccurate. I just don't understand why they give a fuck.
Yeah.
Because they're cats. Cats don't give a fuck about anything to begin with, unless
one of you fucked me.
they're shitting in the catnip.
Unless one of you fucked one of my own. Made a human cat hybrid.
but one of
That man cheetah.
my favorite line in this entire movie. So we have Charles and Mama Brady, and they come up to the door, and an officer of the town is standing there, and he's got like a cat in one hand that's just
Yeah.
fucking dead from the trap.
Yeah.
And they're like, he's like, oh, it's so crazy that you have so many fucking traps out there. And they're like, yeah. He's like super allergic, which is totally a line that I would drop for putting
Right.
landmines in my yard.
He's allergic to squatters.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
super allergic to cats. And he just goes, oh, I get that. I got allergies too. I'm allergic to the IRS.
Yeah.
And I was like, my
Nice.
man, my
Nice.
man. And then they go inside and they start making out, and he calls her mother for the first time. And I'm like, mother, what the fuck?
We're both like, oh fuck. Yeah. Um, so we get a jump cut. We're back at school. Charles is in school with Tanya. We get a little shallow lore via this English professor that's like walking people through. Every story has a beginning, a middle, and all that shit.
And weirdly enough, like the jock had drawn like a fucking
Like somebody getting their fucking ass eaten out at a fucking drive-in. It was probably his coach.
I don't know if you noticed this, but it felt like the art was in like Dilbert
Yeah,
style. I was like, Dilbert, no.
I have a
I would never let Dilbert eat my ass.
Dilbert doesn't eat ass, first of all.
Dude, I don't know. The more plain Jane you get, the freakier you get.
I have a like squishy Dogbert thing that belonged to my dad that sits on your desk, and it's like a stress ball, but it's Dogbert. It's one of my favorites. Anyhow, I'm a big Dilbert guy. I really like. I can't wait to talk about Dilbert after this is over with. Yeah. So basically, it boils down to Charles is kind of like goading Tanya to be in on this and trying to like, because the whole thing is like Tanya's a virgin, right? And we're gonna
We
make,
assume.
yeah, we assume, and
She doesn't look like any virgin I've ever met.
and me
Sorry,
neither.
guys, that's a callback to Leslie Vernon. I'm not calling women whores.
It's also
so-
a callback to my past. Um, Woo!
It gripped. It gripped.
Yeah.
For this scene specifically, because we have
Tanya's trying to low key hit right here. Like,
and it's because this movie parallels Twilight in an insane way. Like between like the dude who's probably 300 years old trying to fuck the girl in high school.
yep.
Uh,
And his mom.
and one of my favorite parts of like, yeah, oh god, one of my favorite parts of the school scene is actually after the whole like ass eating out picture thing. The teacher's like, yeah, well, every story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. But you know what? That would be like me saying that a box has only 4 sides. And like Charles is like, a box has 6 sides. And we're like, boom, roasted. Get it.
That's fucking correct, you nerd.
And of course, the teacher's like, shut the fuck up, Charles.
right, right. But his intelligence was so fucking profound that Tanya couldn't resist the pull of
Weema
his
Tanya.
pride, his persona, his fearlessness, and the heat of educational debate. Oh my God, this guy, right? You know, it's like, and it's nasty. So, so like,
Oh, you nasty.
so, correct me if I'm wrong. What Tanya's mother does, and I love Tanya's mom and dad for one very specific reason.
Yeah, yeah.
That is because Tanya's mom and dad were Ferris Bueller's mother and father in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
It's crazy when you start a new family.
Dude, and here's the
Can
thing.
say from personal
Dog,
experience.
what happened to Ferris? What happened to Ferris?
He had one too many days off.
I guess.
Now he's in a shelter.
Like that Save Ferris campaign is like, did it fail? I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's stupid. Anyway, I just think that's hysterical when people cast couples from movies that are X amount of years old and bring them back. And like, did you notice? No, I noticed because Ferris Bueller's Day Off is, for my money, the greatest. Like, if you have a sick day and you just want to watch a movie, Ferris Bueller's Day Off is a great pick.
Yeah, I was a Breakfast Club guy
Yeah,
for that.
yeah, same vein.
Honestly, yeah, no, it's totally the same vein. Honestly, most of the time I wound up watching Maury Povich because I care more about that
Yeah,
than most other things.
dude, is he the father? He's not. That's fucking awesome.
And it's crazy to have a show that's the whole premise of it. And it's done by the nicest guy. Like Maury Povich is one of the nicest fucking people.
He's probably a gem. I don't know anything about Maury Povich. This is this
Yeah,
is your
well,
take.
he hasn't molested anybody. So he's doing
That
great.
makes him a saint in today's standards. Yeah, in Hollywood standards for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
I was looking forward to Steve Wilkos, but I wanted him to get into more fights.
Yeah,
Because that dude was bold. He was pulling like pedophiles onto his show and
Yeah.
shit, and I was just
this
like,
was before Chris.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, so now we've kind of like developed, uh, essentially what the whole plot
Yeah.
is surrounding on.
So
this one.
I'm gonna jump a little bit if
Yeah,
this is too much
totally.
for you. If you
No,
want to
totally.
like backtrack,
Go
that's
ahead.
fine. But like I'm gonna jump. So the idea is that Tanya, if I'm not, if this is what I was saying, correct me if I'm wrong, but like I think Tanya's parents are pseudo historians. There was a lot of reference about like grave rubbings and shit like that, and like trying to like whatever the fuck they were
I
like.
just
What
figured she was one of those weird photography girls.
Probably. And that's kind of what I'm leaning into for the sake of like moving this plot along. Yeah. Right. We're just going to take some pictures in the graveyard. And I say that because listeners will know that I lived in a community in Raleigh for a while where me and my friends would play was in a graveyard. It was quite literally in a graveyard. And we would do Lord of the Rings, we would do football, it didn't matter. Like we would like when we were out playing in the afternoon, we were playing in a graveyard. So it is creepy because it's creepy. It's disrespectful because it's disrespectful. Um, but it was one of those things where I was like, okay, I kind of resonate with this. Like, yeah, let's go to the graveyard, right?
I just think about the Misfits for Dig Up Her Bones. Take me to the graveyard.
Yeah.
Dig up her bones.
I also just found out that double-sided regular and fine Sharpies have connecting ends for the lids.
Yeah, it's because they're gay.
And I think that's pretty fucking cool. So shout out to Sharpie. This is giving me a fidget spinner to work on this episode with.
So are you shooting all the way ahead to when they were in the graveyard?
No, no, no.
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
so that's what the idea is.
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
so because there's a couple of there's a whole character we have to introduce here. Charles is down for the date. He's down for the weekend. Got a bucket of love for the deep end. Got a story to see, and like so he is kind of on his pleasure cruise in his Trans Am, his blue Trans Am. Mark that. He's in a blue Trans Am at this point.
Also, shapeshifters. Please remember
Yeah.
that. That's so important for some fucking reason.
So again, also for some fucking reason, his teacher took exception to his comments and was like, "I don't believe you're who you are." So he's been following this guy down the road. Stops.
That was the teacher that we deserved in
that was the
Twilight.
teacher we deserved in Twilight, not the Golden Onion eco nerd. Like, yeah,
Edward, you've been in my class for 8 years.
right, right. And you know the difference between the phases of mitosis, which is, I don't know, you probably should have made an A in this shit. I don't know. I wasn't great at biology,
Not
but like
100% on
yeah.
the last sixth state test score.
right. It's time to move on. Time to go to college.
I love drinking.
But
I love college.
that was my shit back in the day, dude. Yeah. But he pulls him over and is like, I don't think you're who you say you are. I think you're hiding something. The teacher to Charles. And Charles is like, you're right. And fucking breaks his hand off of his arm. And he's like, I'm not. And has like shapeshifter shit go on. And it turns out he's a cat person. He's a fucking man.
or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And this is the weird part about the Sleepwalkers too, is they have like 5 different faces, and they're like just different iterations of
Right.
humanoid cat people.
Right. One of the races from fucking Star Trek, Power Rangers villain,
Skyrim.
Skyrim, yeah, Argonian.
They're all just Khajiit.
They're all Khajiit. If you have ever played a Khajiit in your entire life, message us because I have questions.
Dude, Night Eye is worth it. 100%. Night Eye is 100% worth it.
I didn't have to wait long. Apparently, John's played a Khajiit before.
I have. His name was Babu.
My sweet Babu.
It was an Archer reference. We were like, every time like we would get in the shit of it on Legendary, it's just Babu.
Okay, cool.
He, he- we we strapped him up with a Daedric hammer
I
because you can get the forge so stupid. For kill number one, kill
yeah, he
number
hunts him down
fucking
into the like
one.
the you brought up a great point. You're like, dude, the infection is going to be so fucking gnarly.
Because he gets his hand ripped off and he dips it in a crick.
Yeah, in a crick in Indiana. The fuck's wrong with him?
I don't even think fucking water moves in it.
Yeah.
Kill number one. Kill number one.
Kill number fucking one.
Hand job.
Gotta hand it to you.
Solid.
So we meet a cop, and if you can tell me the name of this character, I will be impressed.
Clovis.
Clovis was not the cop.
I know.
I appreciate the joke for what it was.
I would say I there was an actual character in that scene, and it was Clovis.
Clovis was the cat riding shotgun in the cop's car.
Which who the fuck brings a cat?
You go.
He did. He got it.
You got it.
So
rock solid.
I put this this next plot point as hot pursuit because we had Charles who was in the car, and he's just like
after just murdering his teacher.
Feels the need to go 90 miles an hour down a fucking or a highway stretch.
Yeah, it was one of those Indiana highway stretches where the speed limit is 45.
Clovis's master, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Is chasing Charles down the interstate, and they like almost kill some kids past a school bus.
Mhm.
And like this is actually this is my favorite part of the entire movie is there's this part where you think that like a kid's gonna die because they're gonna get hit by Charles's car.
Because Stephen King
Kills
absolutely
kids.
will go that way if he
Yeah.
wants to, you know.
I think in Maximum Overdrive he kills like 6 kids.
Right.
Like,
Right.
but he doesn't. The crossing guard fucking saves the kid, and like the cop slows down, and he's just goes, "Are you guys okay?" He's like, yeah, follow him."
Go get him. What the fuck are you doing?
And the way that the cinematography works is they're like back on the same highway that they were just on to show the pursuit. And Charles is like, fuck, he's never gonna stop following me, anime voice.
Yeah.
And he pulls off into like, yeah, we've all been in the country. And it's like right in front of the gates that go to an actual farm off the side of the road.
Like a rich man's house.
And he pulls off to the side. And
it's that reptile shit.
yeah,
It's that
and he
reptile
just goes fucking camo mode.
Phase out.
My man got invis and shotgun in the same fucking time.
Yeah, dude.
So the cop pulls off, coincidentally, I guess, at the same part that he pulled off. Obviously, the cop cannot see him, but the cat can see him.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here thinking about like Zachary Banks from Hocus Pocus. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Same vibe, same hero energy. As
Same
somebody who
hero
just
energy.
recently saw Hocus Pocus for the first time, I can confirm that reference is correct.
Um, and he's like, fuck, how did I lose him? And he drives off. And it was funny because like not only did the car uncamouflage itself, it turned into another
A
car.
Ford Mustang.
Yeah, it turned into
Yeah.
a fucking like 78 Mustang instead of the
Yeah.
Trans Am that it was 5 minutes ago. And like the police officer gets back to the station and they're just like, he's like, this is all the crazy shit that just happened. And and the sheriff's like,
I believe you believe that.
yeah, definitely tell the DA everything except for the last 5 minutes that you just told me.
So he walks up. I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him.
Digging up them holes,
Dig.
digging. You've got to go find them souls.
It's I can't wait for the cover album. I'm just telling you. I thought it. Charles proceeds to go home and admit to his mother that he did not take the virgin. He could not get her, right? So what he decides to do is fuck his mom. And I wish I was kidding.
I just put this down as incest is rampant.
They fuck. And they like fuck. It wasn't even like that like 5 minute hate fuck thing. They are making
It was like intimate.
Yeah,
Like
right.
it was legitimately gross.
Right. Right. How am I supposed to live without you? Like it was 92. Michael Bolton was probably playing. Next morning.
So this is when I start to realize that the cats are attracted to walkers.
Yeah.
Like there's because like throughout the film, like in like obviously like we said, there's cat bear traps outside, but we're seeing an uptick in cats this entire time.
Dude, that fucking like feral swarm on the outside, dude. Like those like feral colonies that hang
That
out.
James Corden
Yeah,
wiener.
Yeah, yeah, dude.
That Taylor Swift.
The
that
pussy patrol, if you will. That,
I was gonna make Paw Patrol, but that's
yeah,
so
right.
much better.
Yeah.
That's so much better.
Sorry, pussy in the 90s sense, not in the present sense. I've been told, not told, but I've been suggested that I need to augment that phrase.
You just got told.
Yeah.
Next part down as we meet the whore mom.
Yeah, so Tanya decides to come over and pick up Charles to go to school. This serves Charles in a way that, okay, that did a lot of work for itself. This is great. I get to look so, which I like it it reminds me of like Kick-Ass where he's like, "Oh, okay, thank you." But he the mom is super weird. Mom is like holding her hand and like showing her these are the ancient artifacts of our, and like that kind of shit going down.
Oh, dude. Hold
go.
on. I
Yeah,
got
go.
to take this
Yeah.
for a second because this was the scene that I tried to rewind 13 fucking
Mhm.
times when we were watching it. I'll take one of those as well.
Yep.
It was she gets down on her knees because this entire film is about being a fucking whore.
Have y'all ever crushed the fucking Coors Light lid? Just curious. If you have, message me.
She like gets down on her knees, and of course she is like, I was waiting for her to pull her hair back.
Because it was straight it was BJ mode at
yeah,
that point.
it was BJ mode
Fucking
on
fellatio
on
horn blower
on the
over
whore
here.
mom,
Yeah.
which was fucking insane
Yeah.
to me for a shot. And it's funny because like while she's on her knees, they show the shot from the mirror, and it's like fucking homegirl in full cat amorphous humanoid regalia with Tanya on her fucking knees. It was
that weird like COVID era porn where everything is aliens. Yeah. These are people except they're fucking aliens instead of humans. Yeah, that was a fucking ride anyway.
So instead of like going to work, Jesus. Instead of going to school, they decide to go fuck in a
Time to
cemetery.
go to the graveyard and
Yeah.
get them rubbings on.
Take me to the graveyard. Dig up
100%.
her bow.
So this is actually really cute for me because I really feel like Tanya deserved it. Like and not in a storytelling way, but I feel like she is a person. This is probably me projecting. Because again, I have a soft spot for Tanya. Um I feel like
She looks like your fumble.
she
She's a
deserved
reminder of
she
failure.
deserved a cute little like let's get some fucking like picnic basket, bring the corkscrew, bring the wine, we'll take some pictures, we'll do some rubbings of graves and that kind of thing, and we'll
Bring the
fucking hang out.
cucumber
We'll
sandwiches.
have our first kiss, that kind of shit, which is already fucking dude. Anytime a girl wants to have a first kiss in a graveyard, I mean,
Leave her.
I mean, well,
No, leave
I
her.
was gonna say wife that up, but maybe that's my projections again. I don't know.
Dude, if you can get an erection in a graveyard, that's another level.
I agree. I have already scored touchdowns in graveyards, but not in the way that you think I mean. Like, so
Oh, what the fuck do you
no,
think that I think you mean?
like,
Because now
like
I'm
touchdown, like fucking, like you fucking like fuck, you know. Like
okay.
I'm talking about like I've played football in graveyards, like I already mentioned earlier. That was a reference to, and I was very deadly. In more ways. Anyway, I'm just gonna stop talking.
Dude, my balls are confused
Yeah,
after that one. I was like, do I root for him? I don't know.
I'm just saying, like sometimes you don't have a lot of defensive players, so you got to move around tombstones. I was 11, so don't judge me too hard.
I just had sex
No,
and it felt so
it wasn't sex. It was genuine, like gridiron shit. And we were like the secondary was the first like three lines of the yard.
good.
So anyway,
so, so throughout the cemetery sex, Tanya and Charles, so obviously Charles is trying to bring her into the cemetery so that he can suck the life force out of her.
oh, and he sucks her.
Oh, and I don't know how skinwalker shit works because at first I thought from the scene we saw earlier that you had to like hold on to something to like change the visual aspect of it. But I guess you could just put like a fucking like what's the term? It's not curse. It's
Like a ward or something.
yeah, you put like a ward
Yeah.
or something because his mom does it later too.
Yeah.
Um where it's like I want you to look like this for a certain amount of time. And they're like
It's Richard Gere.
they're like getting hot and heavy, turn it up
Yeah.
because it's getting ready. And like they go to this other shot where the Mustang that is bright red is turning into a light blue Trans Am that we saw him in earlier. And of course, like the cop that we saw earlier pulls off, he's like, that's the Trans Am that fucking outran me earlier. And the whole time, Clovis is just like, I must protect my father from what will become of him. And
Forgive him, Lord, for he doth not know what he do.
yeah, so we have this scene that's very like hocus pocus where it's like, woo, like trying to suck the life force out of Tanya. And I guess the like Charles's mom, like Mrs. Mama Brady. Oh my God, it's the Brady Bunch. The joke was there the whole fucking time.
Here's a story
Of a
about
crazy
Charles
lady.
Brady.
So, um, the cop pulls off to the side, and they're like about to Marvin Gaye and get it on in the cemetery for some fucking reason, and
Kinks are weird.
she's like, "Oh my God, you're an amorphous cat creature. I can't I can't have sex with you." And he's like, "Fuck that, baby. I need your life force."
So he sucks her.
She hits him with a
hits
camera.
the shit out of him. Like cracked his forehead, like cleaved his forehead with a fucking Nikon. Yeah.
He's like, oh fuck, it's a Nikon.
Right.
And it was this is the only thing that I'll really point out from that scene was it was crazy to me that when she knocks him out with the Nikon, he gets out of the amorphous cat features, which you
Mhm.
would think is like, what he
The
looked at.
natural state, not the
Yeah,
disguise.
yeah.
However, like what we get is the human version of him.
And then when he gets back up, he's like back in amorphous cat form.
And maybe that's how powerful he is. He can like play dead in human form.
I don't think he was playing dead. I think that girl fucking rocked his
You,
ass.
you think he was like actually like, ugh,
I
like
think I think
genuinely
he
out?
got he was out for a minute. I think he got fucking punched so hard in the face
Yeah,
that no, I 100% think that that's what happened.
sure. So he drops a line that I love. Tell me the exact moment. What did he say? It was like, tell me the exact moment that you felt unsafe or something like that, that you didn't feel like what it was something like that. Like I say, it's my favorite line, but it was just so fucking out of pocket.
Oh,
You know what I mean, though? Like it doesn't even really matter. Like the point being that he was just saying, like, tell me the moment that like this felt like this wasn't what you wanted anymore. And he jumps on her again. They scuffle, and she grabs the corkscrew to open the wine bottle and takes
Mhm.
an eye out of his face and everything. And now we're in genuine like he's injured mode. Um,
Yeah, not a bad final girl so
yeah,
far.
right. And genuinely earning it, earning
Yeah,
her stripes slowly but surely. The cop shows up with Clovis, and
who is the actual protagonist of
she
this
has
film.
like run away from him and is like, no, 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 like you gotta, look, we gotta go, we gotta fucking go, like
And
we
this is
gotta,
a
like,
dude who was literally explaining to the fucking sheriff's
yeah,
office that what he saw was not human.
yeah,
Meanwhile, she's
yeah,
like, he's not fucking
yeah.
human.
His face changed. She's like, he goes, oh, his face changed. Get in the fucking car. We're out of here. Like, all right, cool. That's all I needed.
Turns around.
Right.
And this is the wildest thing to me in this entire movie is he gets stabbed in the side, like the officer gets stabbed in the ear with a pencil, right?
Mm.
And they go so far
Blood
as
ulcers
to show him fall
on
on
the
that
pencil.
side and
Yeah.
go lodge deeper into what we would only imagine as brain
I don't know
matter.
what else is tissue beyond the fucking ear.
Like there
Like
is
ear canal deeper is brain, right?
there is
Yeah.
8 inches in this dude's
Yeah.
dome right now, and it is not going down his fucking throat.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, cool. He's dead. Kill number 2, erectile dysfunction.
Nice.
Uh, but he fucking gets back up to get shot in the gut because obviously, in the amount of time and travels that Charles has had, he knows Krav Maga.
Also, cat people, as we know, are not susceptible to gunfire. Which is just, I'm sorry if you're a cop, you got to know shit like this before you engage in combat. So that's his bad, in my opinion. I mean, I feel like that was deserved.
My dumbass.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. Sorry. Like,
So, obviously, Charles is now trying to continue the takedown
but
on
he's gotten his
Tanya,
fucking ass waxed.
except for the fact that Clovis was not taken into account.
Right. The one weakness of cat people turns out not people, cat.
Tastes like cat, look like people.
people.
He's and the best part of this like exchange of like Clovis fucking him up is his face starts steaming for no fucking reason.
Like a Power Rangers villain getting hit with a sword.
Yeah,
Just starts
it-
catching on fire.
like the
Yeah.
Buddy Patrol.
Yeah.
It was um
Kick
so
him in the Z. Kick him in the Z.
um so now we get into the fact that Charles tries to go home. His sex partner slash mother is like, you can't die on me, you can't,
Yeah.
you can't, Ron. So he's like, I'm dying. She's like, I'm gonna go find this bitch.
Yeah.
So the call has already been put in. There's like a fucking the dumbest fucking cop
The
that we have.
detail
Yeah,
is like Barney fucking Fife comes over to this person's
dude, I
house to
wish I
protect
had
her.
Barney Fife compared.
That's how bad it was. The bloodhound of the law is on this shit, dude. Yeah.
Because we've got a dude that's just like sitting here eating corn, and it took me like five, and like it's mostly because most white people look the same to me. It took forever for me to realize that that wasn't the dad sitting there eating
Yeah.
corn at the table for the
Yeah.
longest time. I told Eric, I was like, my biggest issue with this entire scene is you brought it up earlier because there was a scene where like the entire family is having breakfast.
Like long breakfast.
Yeah, like an
Yeah.
hour before everyone has to go to work and
Everybody has time to
school.
drink their
Yeah.
coffee and eat their eggs and cut a fucking, eat a croissant and spread the butter and read the morning paper and have some coffee and fucking let's have an orange. I think it's grapefruit. I'm feeling grapefruit. Yeah, do you have any sugar? Okay, great. You know, like one of those
Shit that
breakfasts.
doesn't exist in the modern family.
If any of y'all have had long breakfast on a fucking Thursday, I'm jealous because that looks like heaven on earth. You've been up since 4 a.m. It's
You've got a dad.
yeah, yeah. Like, that's got to be cool.
But my biggest issue with this scene is this dude is sitting here eating corn, and like from what we were just talking about, this is the type of white where he would have had corn cob holders. Like, and you know what I'm talking about. You might not have bought them, you
Right.
might not own them, but you know
The
exactly
little, are
what
you
I'm
talking
fucking.
about little like corkscrew things that go in and you
There's
fucking
corkscrew versions of that.
yeah, dude.
I've only seen
That's
the.
what we had. And maybe that was just my
Oh
dad
my
went
god, that's like the next level white. Because I'm thinking about the
so
ones that just have the prongs that go into
so
either.
my dad worked at Dollar Tree for a long time. Not a long time, a few years, but we had like these corkscrew that you could like screw them into the sides of the cob and everything. And it was like, for my money, I thought that was cool. I was like 10. I was like, we're poor, but this is great. This is fun.
It's corn.
Yeah. It's like when you get mac and cheese, but it's like Pokemon characters. Like, oh, that's fun. I'm having fun. You know?
So we have like the only important part of that, I guess, is the fact that the mom is like, I will save you, because the cops come to
Yeah.
the house, they know
Because
where it's at,
Charles is fucking like got one foot out the door at this point.
but they've got invis and
Yeah.
shotguns, so they know how to protect themselves. So mama sex pedophile person uh comes to co-
Accurate.
comes to Tanya's home and is like, I'm gonna fucking kill everybody
Mm-hmm.
here. And she doesn't kill the mom.
She throws her out the window.
She throws her out the window. She fucking throat. But my favorite part is the cop, Barney Fife's ass
Yeah.
over here,
Right.
is like, "Hey, stop that!" and like walks up to her. And like the amount that like people don't draw guns in this universe
Yeah.
is insane
It's
to
wild.
me. Um, she like goes to body check her, and she just like fucking choke slams her. Yeah, yeah.
Nah.
Also, throughout after she throws mom out the window, she like walks into the kitchen, and after the cop got his ass kicked, he like calls the sheriff's department. He's like, hey, she's over here, she's fucking killing people, we out here gang banging, killing people,
Pussy
fucking
crew. Yeah.
pussy crew 2.0. She takes a fucking corn cob
Stabs him in the back.
and
The
like
corn cob.
his fucking B12 spinal column, and,
Yeah.
and he just immediately dies and falls to the ground.
Mm.
I had that as kill number 3.
Kill number fucking 3.
Kill number fucking 3 knobbed.
Perfect. Yeah. Mm.
So
It has the juice.
so now that she's like trying to take revenge, she's like dragging Tanya out of the house by the hair,
And Ron Perlman shows up and it's like, hey, put her down. And she's like,
and
nah.
not pulling
Yeah.
the gun.
Yeah, yeah.
There's
yeah.
like 12 cop cars in this
We were
vicinity.
we were cop cars pulling in other people's driveways, not securing the perimeter, but just like
Their
filling in.
lawns, their
Right. Parking on their lawns, on their porches. Ron Perlman's like, put her down. And she's like, nah. And Ron's like, nah, put her down. And she's like, nah. And so she fucking like hits him in the face and like knocks his ass out. And that was that.
She
That
grabs his arm and compound fractures his fucking
yeah,
like his
yeah.
fucking forearm, and then proceeds to. And this is the craziest shit I've ever seen in a fucking movie. She takes
Ever.
she takes his gun. Yeah, it
Yeah.
probably is
Yeah.
ever, honestly, because this is fucking wild. She takes his gun, shoots the. First of all, it's like it's a 357.
Yeah.
She takes it. She shoots the first cop car. It
Yeah.
explodes, and she she
Yeah.
shoots another cop car, and it explodes twice as fucking high.
Yeah. Right. She was leveling up as she was shooting cop cars.
She was shooting
DPS,
torque weapons.
yeah, the DPS was cranking. It was that high roll on that, that RNG. Sometimes you blow shit up.
100%.
Yeah.
The only thing that I want to say about this scene was my favorite part, and this is for all my Stephen King fans out there, is before people actually started rolling out towards the house, the sheriff was like, call everybody in the town, including the ones in Castle Rock. And I was like,
Nice.
let's fucking go.
Sick ref.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
So there's the scuffle. And
Also, kill number 4.
yeah,
The dude that was standing next to the cop car. This man is on
did
fire.
you see his hat come off and then back on and said, "Woo!" It was hysterical to me. So the mom takes Tanya back to the shapeshifter house, to the sleepwalker house. It was like, look what you did. Yeah, look what you did to my boy. It's giving like
My man's like,
yeah. It's giving like what's her name from Stranger Things, Winona's character.
oh yeah.
My boy, you know. Yeah. But she's like, there's only one thing that can save him. We gotta dance. Sure enough, he like stands up. He's like, all right, cool. Like Tanya, like we gotta dance or I'm gonna die.
And that's when it turned to Sleep Dancers.
Don't give up. You got a reason to live. Like it's and she's screaming the whole. Tanya is obviously beside herself at this point. Like this is
100%.
like this is past beyond like obscurity into complete insanity, into there is not enough therapy that's gonna like fix this for me personally, despite how hot I am and how bad Eric messes you. Oh, it's been a lonely year. So they dance.
And we danced.
Yeah, it was
like the moon and the stars in the sky.
Country album's gonna be even crazier. Y'all ain't ready.
I'm excited for y'all to hear us do Tears in Heaven.
Would you know my name?
It's me jumping out of a window.
Yeah, that's the end of the song. John kills himself. Anyhow, I have in my notes, dance, just dance.
It'll be okay.
And while this is happening, the cats invade, right?
And more importantly, Clovis is leading the charge.
Yeah.
The first one gets iced because, like,
she like grabs it and just like deletes its spine from its body, and then like just like. I was like, damn, if that's all it took, are you really afraid of cats? Like, here's the thing, man.
She drives the car into the house so she can get past the cats.
I'm thinking about the living entities in my life that I'm afraid of. And if I had the capacity to just delete them with the grip of my hand, that's not fear that I'm feeling.
It's you with Coors Lights caps.
That's what I'm telling you, dude. That's what I'm telling you. Like, if I could do to what I fear the most to these motherfuckers, that's all I'm saying. Exactly right. It's a great fucking point. Damn, it is full circle. It's under the floor.
So, I think I can speak for both of us when I can say our favorite kill throughout this entire scene is so the cops show up,
Yeah.
which I will say there's like a really stupid point where we find out that they can like make the car invisible not being in it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really hope one of the cop cars like crashes into it. Like that would be
What the
absolutely
fuck
fucking
was
incredible.
that?
And, but my favorite part is when the cops break in and the cats are obviously trying to, lay siege as
Mm-hmm.
well. There's a cat on the back of Mama Brady.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah.
The cop pulls out the shotgun, blows a fucking hole in her, and it hits the cat. That's on her back.
Gone. Kill number 5. Fucking whiskers went down in a blaze of glory.
But that's why
R.I.P.
that's why we needed Clovis.
And Clovis is the goat.
Clovis is actually the protagonist
So
of this entire
the
story.
the mom and Tanya duo end up fighting their way out into the car, right?
Hmm.
Like the cop car. And
She's in full cat regalia now.
it's dragging her arm against the broken glass and everything, and mom is on a warpath. You killed my son at this point, like it's only me,
My boy.
my boy. Oh no, my boy. um and that's when Clovis engages and begins like I remember the Pokemon meta in the original game where Persian was swift,
Oh
was
yeah.
deadly because
Yeah.
because critical hits stacked on speed, and there was a glitch within Persian
Hmm.
where as you continue to build Swift, which had
Because
100%
her speed was
accuracy,
nuts.
right, and you would just stack critical hits, and what you had was a 60 damage attack that would end up stacking to like 112 or 120, whatever 60
I think it was
times 2 is.
120.
Yeah. So but that was a whole meta, was you would lead with the Persian and you would just like stack crits and you
And
would
never
deal,
miss.
and you would just, it was guaranteed 120 damage. It was a fucking flamethrower or a hydro pump or or whatever. And that's what this reminded me of, because the mom just fucking gets obliterated by
Yeah.
Clovis. Meowth, that's right.
And we had all of and so like with the Steam earlier, for some reason, if you put too many cats next to a sleepwalker, they just set on fire. And I loved the scene
Yeah.
where it's like
Yeah.
she's on fire on the ground.
It's on
This bitch is on fire. And so she's fucking smoked
fire.
at
Yeah.
this point, and like the cats are like doing cat things where they're just like
Chilling. Like, right.
watching.
We need to get that Hannah Fearman clip in right there where she's just like, like
Hannah Fearman is a cat person.
Yeah,
100%.
100%.
She is also one of our favorite people.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah, just put it right here.
yeah.
That's what the cats were doing.
And then it just fades to black, and that was Sleepwalkers.
Great flick.
Great flick.
So much fun. This is one I'm absolutely gonna revisit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say just get into your thoughts.
No, I mean, like, it's stupid. None of it makes sense. It's Stephen King. I fumbled the girl in this movie, so I'm sensitive to it. It's a lot of cats. I'm down with cats. Yeah, dude, powering off. That's Eric.
I thought that this movie you
That
really
was
are
perfect.
yeah.
That was perfect. Yeah.
Cool. So I'm left with my final thoughts. Hello everybody.
Eric's gay.
They can still hear you. So
Tell him Eric's gay.
Eric is gay. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I was really excited to watch a Stephen King film. Because whether they're hits or misses, they're always hits for me. Because at the end of the day, it's Stephen King. Like, what the fuck? What am I? What am I gonna stand up to that?
Yeah.
Um, I really enjoyed the dialogue. I thought it was so self-aware.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the cameos were awesome between like Mark Hamill and Clive Barker and everybody else. I thought the film was so much fun. Um, and the concept was pretty cool. It wasn't my favorite that he's done, but he always does like these weird out of pocket, like even when you look at it, it's like, okay, it is actually a Grecian monster at the end of the day that he just pulls a derivative from for fear. And I thought that this was a really really cool take, and obviously there wasn't enough plot development, but that's any Stephen King movie that's under 3 hours, and I would so much rather have it be under 3 hours.
Absolutely.
um, but
It's just more accessible, man. And that's like I think we've talked about this before with horror movies. Like there has to be a level of accessibility.
100%.
If it's something like we're gonna get into like the It movies or something like that, and we're gonna go 2 or 3 movies deep, like that's fine for what it is. But if it's just a one off, dude, it needs to feel like a one off.
Yeah, absolutely. And this movie actually did that pretty well. Like there wasn't a lot of plot. There was enough, like they did the disclaimer at the beginning. It's like, "Hey, this is how the monsters work." You figure it out pretty quickly and you just go from there. I really fucking enjoyed this
It's a
movie.
good one.
Yeah. And it was nice to see Stephen King in his ugly era.
Mm-hmm.
Um but outside of that, yeah, I will probably watch this again.
Absolutely would watch this one again.
I
Yeah.
was super impressed with how much fun I had, and yeah, I don't think there's really much else to talk about. Do you have any other closing
It's
points?
just a good movie, man. And this is I don't you want to check real quick where it's available if people want to stream this one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Um because we have a physical copy of this.
Yeah, we so the person Nina,
Thanks,
our
Nina, for loaning this
our
or giving
patron
this.
and
Yeah.
friend, and very excited to get to have a pick from a fan. I think is a lot of
Yeah.
fun. Um, but
And shit, man, maybe we open that door a little bit and let listeners who want to recommend shit.
yeah, if you do it, I mean, like we're cheap already.
If you want to see us get drunk and talk about a movie you want us to watch.
Ooh, this is actually only pay for on
So
everything
this
so
is
far.
exclusive. So this feels kind of
Yeah,
yeah, dude.
it's
I wonder if it's the incest. I wonder if that's what limits it on the Vox Populi.
it cost me $3.59 to watch somebody get deep dick by their mom. So
Yeah, by their mom.
uh the by the way, the Google in a nutshell is creepy, harsh, bleak.
Yeah, I don't know about bleak, but yeah,
I don't feel like that's right
there
either.
was never a point where I believed that Tanya wasn't going to make it.
Also, on the front of the movie, they called it sexy.
Yeah,
So
right.
I don't know about all that.
And as like hard as it is for me to call this movie sexy, I would call it sexy before I would call it. So those are my final thoughts.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Thank you so much, Nina, again for the recommendation. Thank you so much for the physical copy. And if you're not part of the Patreon, join it, or we'll leave your mom. But thank you for joining us once again. We're at Creeks, it cracks, and we laugh at the creatures that go bump in the night. Good night, everybody.